Welcome to the Barry Charles Footy Show, your one-stop shop for everything rugby league. Yes, in today's episode, we're going to talk about Shaun Johnson. Yes, pec injury, how long is he out? Is season curtain for the Warriors? I do believe so. Nathan Cleary, Turbo, Kieran Foran, the list goes on and on and on. Hamstring issues in the game. Are they training too hard? And they're pulling up lane. This is time to change the training regime of the rugby league teams. Dylan Edwards on top of the Dally M leaderboard. And what's doing Cowboys, Tigers and Rabbitohs as their seasons look shaky at best with the Warriors. And obviously a recap of the games. And Fafita to the Roosters. Let's get it on, yes, at the Barry Charles Footy Show. Welcome back, guys and gals, to the channel. What is happening? Absolute chaos all around the place. Shaun Johnson, let's get to it straight up for you Warriors fans there. What's doing Andrew Webster? He is now under the pressure cooker now. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Got a rally behind the troops, but to be fair, Dinkum, it's been absolute rubbish from the Warriors the last month or so, and they need something big time. And it was absolutely emancipated, and it looked like it was going to be any sort of score after 12 minutes on Sunday football. But they didn't manage to recap and get themselves back into the game. But they were never in it the whole game this time, the Warriors. Absolute disappointing. And what I wanted to suggest, why was Shaun Johnson, if he had that injury, why wasn't he rested for 2 weeks or 3 weeks earlier in the season instead of playing with it? And it's gradually got worse. Absolutely disappointing with the groin injury. Could have rested him, had him ready to go for the finals football, but they've gone the wrong way, and now the Warriors season's in the tatters with Roger Tuivasa to check out for something ridiculous between 2 to 6 weeks. There is big issues in the Warriors camp. What's going to happen there? Disappointing for Warriors fans. It's just going to be, again, back to the old Warriors, unfortunately. Even though you can argue they're playing better than the old Warriors. But then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're not getting the wins on the board, you ain't going to be playing finals football. And the Warriors certainly won't be playing finals football after looking like a team that could win the premiership a month ago. Now they look like a team that's closer to the wooden spoon in the top 8. Disappointing for Warriors fans, but what can you do? It's the way the cookie crumbles. Wow, the big news out of the weekend. Obviously, Nathan Cleary out for 8 weeks. Tommy Turbo out for a similar amount of time. Kieran Foran injured. There's a hamstring issue in the game, and it's been constant every single year, and it just continues to become more and more occurrent in the game. Are they training too hard? Are they training a specific way that hurts the hamstring? Or it's just part of the game? Just got to deal with it under the pressure of the NRL football. But anyway, for New South Wales, it opens up a gap. Clearly, who's going to play number 7? All the talk, from what I've heard, is Mitchell Moses. I think Nico Hines. There's a bit of an argument there. Nico Hines is not a traditional 7. He plays more like a 6, so you could argue that. Mitchell Moses is more of a traditional 7, so it depends on how you want to play. Do you want to play Andrew John sort of style football? You go with Nico Hines. If you want to play Cooper Cronk style, you'll go for Mitchell Moses. So that's probably where the question marks are going there. And what does the ripple effect do for Dylan Edwards' selection? Is James Tedesco straight in now? And that's the end of Dylan Edwards? Or will you still pick Dylan Edwards and just go, we're picking the best form team in the comp? That's the question mark for Turbo. Does that mean Latrell Mitchell is back in the hunt now of making the squad with his Rocks and Diamonds performance on the weekend? We will see, because I think Crichton should be in one position on the centre, and then after that, you could pick a whole lot of people. Do you go with Latrell? Do you go with Katoni Staggs? Do you go with Matt Burden? Do you go with Brandon Bess? So many options in the centre position, but yes, question marks. New South Wales, if they can get the number 7 jersey right, is a big question. Looking at David Fafita signs with the Roosters. Well, all the talk was Panthers were going to get him. Roosters get their man. 95% of the time, Roosters get their man. And what ramifications does this have for the game? When a guy can get, 1.1 million, and next minute he is out the door. from their contract and goes, I am going to play for a team for 800,000 or whatever the case may be. Absolutely ridiculous. Do the NRL need to bring in a cap that says your player value, like the market value of this player, and it's a transferable one on current form and everything, but there needs to be a market cap of where you can pay this player. So for Fifita, for instance, if he's ranked at a certain level, maybe you would say his price was over-ranked anyway, so he's probably in his right price range, but you could argue that maybe it should be a little bit higher. Maybe it should be around the 900,000 mark a season for Fifita. I think that would be one way to try to clarify the top echelon players, give them a ranking system of how much they're worth in between a certain amount, but then but don't stipulate if someone wants to pay them over that is fine. I think the underside is where the issue is. Why is a player going for like $250,000 less? I understand it's to try and win a premiership. That is understandable, but it should not be allowed. I think they really need to look at that and figure out a way to make that work. I think if you just cap the player in terms of how low they can go, I think that's where you stick. So if this, say for instance, Fifita had to be 900,000, would the Roosters and that come knocking? We will see. Potentially not. So that is the question mark. If they had done something like that, the NRL, in terms of capping players on how low they can go, for the top echelon players, this is what I'm talking about. They know what their market value is. They cannot go lower than this market value. That would stop that issue completely, and that will make people think more of this, taking the bigger money as well. So that's something for the NRL. Cowboys, absolutely ridiculous against the Titans. Absolutely only got into the last minute of the game. That is not good enough, and Todd Payton is under pressure to be sacked. Benji Marshall, again, the same old Tigers, just cannot get it done. Can argue they're slightly playing better than this year, but they're still losing the games. So they're on the improve, but they're not going to be top 8 material. Rabbitohs, absolute debacle of a season continues, and when is their next win going to come? They are in danger of being wooden spooners if they don't turn it around, and they need to turn it around because otherwise the Tigers will be saved by the Rabbitohs. Also, another team I had to add to this list is the Eels. Has been obviously an injury of Mitchell Moses has cruelled them, but the selection of Dylan Edwards and Dylan Brown at 7, absolutely not the right case. Shouldn't have happened, and disappointment there. So yeah, the Dolphins got it done against Manly. Absolutely tragic for Manly. Absolutely can't get it done. And well, they could still. I don't think they'll get the wooden spoon now, but I still think this season is derailing as well. And Anthony Seibold is going to be under pressure. Panthers get it done against the Bulldogs. They get it done, but it wasn't a convincing game. Bulldogs were okay, but they were never going to win the game. Broncos get it done against the Eels. Doing good without Reynolds. Knights are doing well to get the wins on the board. Winning 20-14. Just finding a way to win with their injury crisis as well. The Sharkies getting it done over the Storm. The big one for them to be the top 8 team. The Dragons too good for the Rabbitohs. And the Roosters were way too good for the Warriors. And probably the worst team in the round with the Warriors, to be honest. And then the Titans just get it done against the Cowboys. We should have won by more, but the injuries got to them in the end. But they still held on. Finally, Dylan Edwards is out in the race by 6 points on 30 on the Dally M leader. From Nico Hines on 24, and then you got Kiko at 23, and then back to Turbo, who's injured with Zach Lomax 21, with Cherry Evans at 20, Callum Ponga back at 17. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But with the injuries, the Nathan Cleary, it could be Dylan Edwards to lose between him and Nico Hines. They look like the two likely ones at the moment. Can anyone else come from the rank? It depends on if they can find some form big time. And probably depends if Dylan Edwards gets picked for New South Wales, but we will find out soon enough. But anyway, that's Barry Charles for the show for this episode. Hope you've had a great day. Enjoy the football, and I'll be back to talk about the league coming up on the weekend. Have an awesome day out there.